right, guys, let's go ahead and shift over to the NBA, and we can maybe expect the season to resume. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban was one of the big voices when the NBA season stopped in its tracks, and now he's offering some hope for when the season might get back underway. Cuban is hopeful the NBA season start back up date could be as early as May, while a Woj report from earlier in the month indicates games may not be back until mid to late June. So what's more likely, Jay? Will we see the NBA back in May, or will we have to wait until June, or could it even be longer?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I think there's still a lot that we don't know about the coronavirus. There's still, a lot of tests that need to come back, and we're still just gathering more and more information about what all this is about and, you know, all of that. But as far as how it relates to the NBA, I said initially when Adam Silver came out and said, we're going to suspend, and I believe they said we reevaluate in 30 days. It's only been 2 weeks. So we're still relatively early into that initial time level, into that initial time hack. And at the rate we're going, I think mid-May is reasonable at this stage, given what I know. You just mentioned it a few minutes ago, talking about the president having hopes that the country may be back to some semblance of normalcy by Easter. Now we don't know if that'll happen, but that's just one of the things that's just a goal at this point. And I think for the NBA, I think May. I think that's a goal that should be set in place. And one of those things about that is even if you don't necessarily, even if you're a little unsure, if you can make that happen, what those things do is offer people hope. If the first thing you say is, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna be back in the season until like July," well now you got the whole country and the whole NBA fan base just, oh, and we got wait 4 months for this. Even if it's a little bit of false hope, and we got to push it to the right a little bit. I would rather have some hope that the season will be back in play in May, and then get to May and have to wait a little longer. I think that would be better from a mental standpoint than just being worst case scenario immediately. Even though I think we all need to be prepared that something worse may happen. I still think there's a whole lot of unknowns about this situation. But I like what Mark Cuban had to say. I liked his message. It's one that's really positive. And as of 2 days ago, we got 14 people in the NBA that's tested positive. That's that's not a that's not a ridiculous number. Consider I think that's taken into account more than just the players. I'd imagine that's taken into account the coaching staffs, training staffs, and just so on and so forth. So I think that's fairly good in a what is a not good situation. But all in all, I think May is something that is still a reasonable goal to shoot for at this point.
Um, I think I speak for the streets when I say this. The little people like myself. I don't give a rip when it come back. It just need to come back. Listen, I don't care if it come back in May, June, July. I just wish whatever date that they give us is a set in stone date so I can get the pom poms ready, so I can get the new TV ready, so I can move the furniture back around, and I can go ahead and whip out the notepad and know what we're going to talk about in the next show and know the memories I'm going to get. Because at the end of the day, that's all we really care about. I mean, granted, we want people to be safe. I'm not saying bump everybody in the coronavirus. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when the world open back up for business and when we can get these sports events back up and running, we don't care when it happened. We just need it to happen. Listen, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm here for it. Here's the deal. If it opens up, let's say June, July, imagine this, right? Imagine this. It's fantastic right here. Playoff starts in June. So we usually go from April, May, and June. Now we could possibly go from June, July, August. Oh, guess what else? Oh, now you're rolling right into preseason for NFL. Oh, as soon as August is over, now we rolling into college football. And then I will assume if the season ends that late, it will not start in October again. But we don't need it to start in October. That's the greatest thing about it. We don't want listen. You can start the season in that following January if you want to. Why? Because we know December and January is the meat of college football and the NFL playoffs. So if you want to start the season right before, let's say, the NFL championship week, hey, we can live with that too. Because then that give us a continual string of sports. That, as fans and media or whatnot, that is what we care about most. Like, we would get rid of the dead time and blame it on the virus, and then be able to have months and months of entertainment back to back to back to back. I didn't overlook baseball. Baseball is still had a thing going on. I'm not knocking that, but just imagine that. And and you can have possibly three sports in the meat of their seasons around the same time. What is not to love about that? I mean, like, why would we care that? Oh man, the playoffs didn't start on time. Okay, but did we get the playoffs? Yeah, we got it. All right, then. Now we're getting to the point that matters. We got it. So, Mark Cuban, I've been giving him kudos throughout this whole thing. I think he's been the most proactive, the most outspoken owner about everything coronavirus NBA related. He was the first one to come out and say we will resume a season at some point. He also was the first one to say, "Hey, my people are going to get paid regardless. We're going to get it done." So, Mark Cuban, he's been doing a fantastic job. I tell you, for what I thought of the guy, he has really changed my perception of him. So, but to get on the question, man, listen, I don't care, man. I just ready for something to come on, man. I'm just ready to watch something. I'm ready for moments to happen. I'm ready to see a team hold up a trophy. Hey, if they want to bring the NCAA tournament back, hey, I don't care. They could bring that joint in November if they want to. It might not make a whole lot of sense, but guess who's gonna be watching it? Your boy, right in front of the TV, looking at it. So that's what I care about the most when I think about the NBA resuming their schedule, man. It's just when give us, give me the lockdown date so I know when to have the popcorn ready and when to have the pom poms ready.
Yeah, that's probably the most frustrating thing right now is, we're in our second week of the real, like, serious part of this whole lockdown and everything shut down. It is just the not knowing, it's the unknown of how does this play out down the road? Because with something like this, little changes can have big ripple effects down the road. We were talking about, in the prep or whatever about I was talking about how they're basically talking about how they just really don't know if this could get a lot worse before it gets better. Some people think that. Other experts go, it could even be the opposite. This thing's could be turning around a lot faster than some other countries did. But you really you don't have any, like, concrete finality to work off of. It's been about 2 weeks, and already these teams and leagues are going, okay, well, how could we get this back open? Maybe. And they're just kind of like spitballing and throwing those hypotheticals out. And I think the biggest, besides the unknown and the fluidity to the situation, the other problem you have is to get the season started back up. Or let's say you throw a dart at the calendar. You say, I want the finals on, like one of the Woj report said, Labor Day was like, is their kind of working deadline for the finals. Well, if your dart lands on Labor Day, you've got to start working backwards. You got to get the season started by July 1st. And then practice facilities have to open up by June. And that means people at work, they have to be back by mid-May, to get the practice facilities ready for XXXX. So it's hard because the machine has to restart the motion, and that doesn't just happen at the drop of a hat. So I think if you look at the only other thing that's really a big problem I see is so far there's not a lot of other hope. I mean, the NBA they were the team, they started this domino. I mean, when it feels like the day they shut down, as soon as they ran on the court and turned off that Jazz Thunder game, like everything else just snowballed from there, right? And you have the Olympics postponed now. No other sports have even considered trying to open back up. I mean, Drake, you're talking about how the UFC's had to reschedule the same fight like 5 times. They can't get anywhere to host it. So it's going to be one of these fluid situations, and who knows? They could give us a date, and then everyone goes back to normal, and then this starts creeping back up, and hold on, we got to bring it back down again. So I think a tentative, April or a May, June, starting getting players back in, warming back up, because you also got to consider how the season starts. Do you play the whole season? Do you just play some tune-up games and take the playoffs as they look today? There's a couple different ways you could take that also, but it's gonna be frustrating, and I think you're gonna see a lot of like tentative dates and then moving the tentative dates, and it's just gonna be one of those things where you have to just wait and see what happens. And unfortunately, that's the worst best answer you can give.